Hello. So this was actually my first day of my third clinical, but obviously if you're watching this, you'll know that this is still the video for my second clinical. So I'm going to start talking about that first and end this video. And then if you want to see how my first day of my third rotation was, then watch out for that video, which won't be up until I finish my clinical. So you'll have to wait 10 weeks, most likely. But anyway, the reason why I didn't make a clip on my actual last day was because I actually made a wax appointment for right after, and then I had happy hour plans with one of my best friends because I was like, oh, there's no way that I'm gonna be like leave late on my last day, like blah blah blah. And sorry about carry noises in the background. Anyway, yeah, that didn't happen. I didn't finish writing my notes until 4, and then like my CI and I still had to like review my like final and like, you know, just go over last minute things and then saying bye to everybody and everything. So I was like rushing to leave, and then I actually ended up having to reschedule one of my waxes. I made 2 appointments and I could only make one of them, so I ended up having the other one this morning. And then I went straight to happy hour, and then by that time it was late and dark, and anyway. But my actual last day was quite the doozy. I had to wipe somebody's butt again, which I was like, of course, this is what happened on my last day. And it was with one of my patients who has been having like knee arthritis, and we haven't been able to walk yet. Like, we have tried, and she like can't put weight on that leg. So I went to go treat her, and she wasn't in her bed, she wasn't in her wheelchair, and so I was like, I don't know where else this woman could be. Like, she can't walk, like, as far as I'm aware. Like, I haven't been able to get her to take any steps. So I like go out to the nurses station and I ask them, and they're like, I don't know, she was there like a minute ago. And so I'm like, what the heck? And they're like, is she in the bathroom? I was like, how did she get there? So I knock on the bathroom and she's in there, and so I open it and I'm like, how did you get in here? And she's like, I walked with a walker. And I was like, what the so I was like, okay. But this poor woman was having like horrible diarrhea, and so she had like missed the commode because that's what she had been using because it's closer, and then like it just kept coming. So then she ended up in the bathroom, and so I like just felt so bad. And then she was like super embarrassed and everything, and like she's a little bit of like a larger woman. She's been able to like wipe herself before, but like I think there was just like so much, I'm sorry, TMI, but. And I was like, do you want me to get a CNA? And she's like, no. And I was like, do you want me to help you? And she's like, yes, please. Like, and so I was like, I'm already there. Like, you know, she's so embarrassed. Like, anyway, so yeah, I had to wipe her butt. And then she was like all like tuckered out. Like, I didn't even do any other like physical therapy. Like, I felt so bad. But yeah. And then one of my other long-term care patients, I don't know if I've really mentioned him much, which is surprising because like I've literally been treating him like since like week 1. His name is John. He's been there for a while, and we've been working on his walking. He's in a power wheelchair. He had like a partial like spinal cord injury, so he's still like kind of weak on his left side. I think he only had like a partial like cervical spinal something or other. Been working on his like standing tolerance and walking and whatnot, but he's been like not declined, but the past like few weeks his like knee and his arm has been really bothering him, so it's been limiting his ability to walk. So like I passed him in the morning and he was on his way to an appointment, and I was like, John, like, where are you going? He's like, I have an appointment, like I'm gonna be gone most of the day. And I was like, am I not gonna see you again? He's like, probably not, like, thank you so much for everything. And like, that was it. And I was like, I was so sad if that was gonna be like our last goodbye, because like I treat him like 3 times a week. So like we like developed a pretty good like relationship. So I was like, oh. But then he came back, and then like it was like 1:30. We normally see him at 11, and sometimes OT sees him at 1. And so my CI went upstairs to his room, and he was like about to take a nap, and she's like, are you gonna come down for therapy? And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess. And so he came down, but he like didn't want to like try to walk, so we just did like exercises and like worked on his core strengthening. But then we had to cut our session short because he ended up basically pooping his pants and had to go back upstairs to get changed. And so I was like, okay, this is fine. So, I mean, we got like, we said a real goodbye, and he gave me a hug and everything. So I was like, okay, bye, John. And then one of my other patients was a discharge, and I have came full circle with her, because so she was an initial evaluation my first week. I had been treating her like and everything. I discharged her, and then she came back like a week later or something, I don't even know. And so then we've been like treating her again, and this woman has 15 stairs to go home. So like, if it weren't for those friggin' stairs, she could have been like left a long time ago. But when she came back, the clip of when I wiped my first butt, she was my first butt that I wiped. And then she was my last discharge. So full circle on that one. What a time. And then my last eval on my last day was an interesting character. He had cervical laminectomies. So they like took out part of his like lamina and his cervical spine, and we had no idea like what we were walking in on. Like he had like nothing in his chart. Like we were like, this guy could be like bedbound, like this guy could literally have like basically be like a spinal cord injury. Like we had no idea. We finally found in one part of his note that said that he had a cervical collar that had to be on at all times unless he was laying in bed. And we're like, okay, let's go see what we're gonna get. We go in there, he's chit-chatting with the nurse, standing up, moving around, no collar on, and we're like, okay. So we go in there. I did it with one of the OTs, and so we introduce ourselves and everything, and then we're like, are you supposed to have a cervical collar? And he's like, oh yeah, it's over there. And we're like, did they tell you when you have to wear that? And he's like, yeah, at all times unless I'm in bed. And we're like, are you in bed? And he was like, no, but I could get in bed. And so he like lays back down in bed, and we're like, that works, I guess. Like, so we had him lay like while we like ask him all the questions that we have to ask, like, where were you living before? Are you in any pain? Like, blah 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 blah. So like we did all that, and then had him sit back up, put the collar on, and then like the OT tests like their upper body strength, I test his lower body strength. He was like a tiny bit weak on the right side, I think, but still like totally functional, like with the lower legs. It was the arms, because he had a central cord syndrome, they said, so the upper extremities are more involved than the lower extremities. And so I was like, I don't know if this guy needs PT, but like this dude would not shut up. Like he literally was just talking. And my OT kept like trying to like get him to answer a question, so he would like redirect him a lot. Oh my gosh. And then this guy was like, excuse you. this guy was saying like the N word and the C word and the F word, like, and just had no filter, was just going off about like how like he just wanted to take his like nurses home with him, and like he's got all this money and blah blah blah. And yeah, so it was like super awkward, and we're just like trying to get all the tests we need to get. And so like if somebody is like not appropriate for physical therapy, like I have to do like a lot more tests with them to like say like for sure, like, okay, they did a tug and it was, you know, within the normal time for their age. I did like a 30-second chair rise test with him and it was normal. Like we went on a walk and he was fine. So like I have to do all these things to like make sure to like demonstrate that he doesn't need like skilled PT. So that was a wild time. And then like the OT was trying to get to another like patient appointment that he had already like set up with one of the PTAs, and this guy would not shut up and let him leave. So I finally was like, Charlie needs to go, like let him leave, like we'll figure all this out, like, because he was like, he had a PICC line in and he wanted to pull it out, and I was like, please don't do that. And yeah, it was a whole time. So that was that. And then everybody else was pretty much just run of the mill. I didn't really have like that many treats, but yeah, so last day was an adventure for sure. But then I finally started editing this video, so it should be 2 parts, but just going over like reviewing my videos from like the first few weeks, like I really did like grow there, which is so like crazy because like, you know, like I cried like so much during that clinical, and like it was so overwhelming. I didn't feel comfortable in the setting, like it was just crazy. And then by the time I left, like I literally have been treating patients basically on my own for the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, you know, my CI would come in and check on me and I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, so it's just crazy to like see like how much confidence I grew. And like if it weren't for my like max like TD patient, oh, speaking of which, I think in the clip before this is when I mentioned the eval about the husband and wife team. So I've been treating them since their eval. The wife is still not doing great. She's still like a total dependent transfer with OT. So that has been wild. We've brought her into the gym a couple times, and we got her on the standing frame on Friday. So it's like a literally like, it's set up so that you just basically push them into standing, to just like work on that. Like her trunk control is god awful, like, and she keeps pushing like to her hemiparetic side, and so it's like a whole thing. But like one of the other OTs that had treated her a couple times can literally transfer her by herself, and I'm like, it literally takes me and the OT like 2 attempts to transfer her because it's such a struggle. But we're also like, I think us combined are still like smaller than that other OT. So yeah, but yeah, so if it weren't for like the patients that need like so much assistance, I honestly think that I could probably do a SNF, which I never thought that I would say that. And the fact about the wiping the butts, if I could just not do that. I mean, technically I don't have to, like I can get a CNA. Like a lot of the times, like if somebody needs to be changed, I'll be like, all right, like I'm gonna get the CNA, because it takes up my therapy time. Like, so unless it's gonna be like a therapeutic for me to have them like stand or balance or whatever, like it's just easier for the CNAs to do it. But so if it weren't for those things, I think that it like wasn't that bad. But also, I went to a pool party yesterday with the therapy team from the SNF, which was so fun. Like, you know, just hanging out with everybody. Can you stop, please? But like, I literally loved the therapy team so much. Like, everybody was so great. Like, I loved co-treating, and like, you know, just the vibe there, like in the gym, was just so great. Like, everybody, like, there wasn't a single person that I like ever had any issues with. I was so honored to be like invited to the pool party, since I wasn't a student anymore technically. So to just hang out with everybody like outside of work, and it was really fun. So that was really nice. And like, honestly, like, your coworkers and like the environment really does make a difference in a job. Honestly, I've considered like maybe doing like PRN work there or something once I graduate. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, just overall, like, just seeing different diagnoses. Like, I've seen TBIs. I forgot to tell you, I think, about the guy that I eval'd a few weeks ago that thought he was a god, and he has 4 other gods inside him that he like switches between, and he's been off, how did he phrase it? On autopilot. He's been on autopilot for like 15 years, and now he's off autopilot, and like, so now everything is like crazy. And yeah, that was an interesting time. But yeah, he left AMA and ran across the street, and that's the last thing that I heard about him. So that was interesting. And yeah, my like differing stroke patients, seeing, you know, just the difference in their like symptoms and how they present has just been crazy. And then I've seen amputees, I've seen, you know, just people that are weak. Like, there's been just so many things. Like, I can't even remember all the evals or people that I've treated since I've been here. But yeah, it's been a good time, for better or for worse. But overall, I think that I did a really awesome job, and my CI like thought that I did great. She said that I thrived there. The other like clinical director, no, down. The other clinical director also said that like I, you know, did really well. So I'm really proud of myself and how far I've come in the 10 weeks that I'd been there. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I'm really happy, and you know, I just got 10 more weeks left. So stay tuned, like I said, to see how my 3rd clinical goes. I'm gonna make that clip for my first day right now, so if you see me in these same clothes, don't mind me. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this, or at least for me, like, I got something out of making this and being able to review it. So I think it'll be nice to have in the future so that I can remember how this experience was. So anyway, that is all.